Jules here, welcome to my channel. So again, what we're doing is we're working with book page, labels and scraps of paper, and we're just making envelopes. So this is one that I made, I think it was when I did the 20 things to make from book pages, or 20 pockets. This would have been one of them, and I kind of put some washi tape on it and left it. So since then I've now stamped it, put some labels on it. This one I just made this morning. Now you can sew around them with a machine. I've not with them. I might. I won't do it on video. However, I will sort of like switch the video off, pause it, and come away, and then come back and show you what it's like. So they're quite easy to do. That's made with a small book page. It's I think it's the chronology or something. It's the Canterbury Tales anyway. It was a small book. This one is the Victor Hugo. So it's this. So I've got like a load of book pages here. They're vintage. They're not antique. So there's some small ones. These are the Victor Hugo ones. These ones you couldn't, because they're like too. I mean, it's an old Norwegian book. I think it was about gemstones and sort of like the rocks and things. But what I did use it for was I used it to stick on the book, you know, so that I could have the writing up the right way, and just so it looked a bit shabby. We've got German book page. We've got, I think this is how you were made, yes. Beloved Daughter, and these I think are just, that's aquatics. I think that's from a garden book, because it's all delphiniums, diseases, dogs, domestic duties, drainage, evergreens. Yeah, it's kind of a garden book. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use one of the Victor Hugo books. Now all I do is I just fold it up like that to what I think looks right to me, and I've always done that, and it's 3 inches, and I think that's what I always get. And what I do is I kind of leave it a finger width and fold it down, and that's my envelope. And that's probably roughly, that one's just a little bit bigger, which is fine. Now, to keep your writing up the right way, this is kind of what I do. Sometimes I use a blank, you know how you get blank pages in books. Sometimes I don't. So we put that on there. And I always give myself a nice border. I like to have a nice border, even if it shows some of the writing underneath. I don't care. But what we are going to do is we're going to ink round. And I'm just going with the darker. I'm going with the seal brown. On the other one I used Friar Brown, which is kind of a reddy brown, like vintage photo. We're putting that way, aren't we? And then we'll just I'm not being too neat. I'm quite happy if, you know, a bit of ink gets slapped over the side or, you know, rubbed on the book page. It's fine, it's all part of it looking kind of old and grunged, because that's what we're kind of looking for, is like labelly grunge. And I'm just kind of going over all the pockets and envelopes that I made earlier on in the year on that video, because it was quite popular. It still is quite popular. People are still watching it. So I'm kind of now just coming and making one at a time and just decorating it. And then we'll bring the fryer brown in. We'll just, before we stick this down, and I'm doing the back as well, because these envelopes, these are standalone, so they sit in a pocket. I think I'll have a look to see what that's. No, I like the dark on this one. And it just gives it that kind of layered look. Well, it is layered, isn't it? And then we'll stick these on. So if you, I mean, I could have used that on that way and it would have been a blank page, which would help with stamping, because obviously I'm going to stamp some patterns and things like that over it before I put the labels on. But it doesn't really bother me. And again, you can stick these down with glue stick if you want, or like I've just used the art glitter glue. And kind of the more layers you put on these envelopes and bits of ephemera, it kind of makes them a bit, you know, bit stronger. Although this book page is quite strong anyway, so you don't need it. So there we are. And what I've got here is I've got it's kind of a crosshatch pattern. I'm going to try it with the kind of. And we'll use stars on there. And I'll use this one. This one looks kind of like a calendar ticket kind of thing. You can't see exactly what it says, but you can see that it is a stamp, and that's fine. Now we've got some writing. I'm not doing any on the back, I'm just leaving the back, and I think we'll just do that kind of there. Yep. Just put that back in there, and just wiping my tape, although it doesn't really matter because it'll just go on the envelope, which makes it look a little bit more grungier. Now I'm just going from the seam, this crease, to the end. If you want, you can put a thumb notch in. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Just depends how I'm feeling. Now at this point, this is where you decide what your theme is. Now obviously I've got labels and that, but you can put fussy cuts and things, you know. You could put butterflies, you could put autumn, put stamps, made stamps, anything like that. It's entirely up to you. However, I want labels on mine, so I'm just moving the photographs out the way, and we're just going to bring these in. So I'm just going to ink around this again, just to so it pops out. And this is the field label. Now I'm just wondering, before I stick that down properly, do I want some of this mummy cloth? And I think we will, just a tiny little bit, because the colours are kind of autumny and it will be used in my autumn and winter journals. So we'll just lift this up a little bit. Yep. Okay, so we've got that. I think we might have condemned up here. And I usually, if I work on the flap of the envelope and the body of the envelope, what I usually do is I work one in one corner and one in the other. It's just, I don't know why, I just do. Okay, we'll put that in there. Not sure if I want that one. Right, so we'll put that one there. Yep, that'll go down there. And a lot of these labels I've made with stamps. Some of them I've picked up in digitals. I know I've got some Tracy labels. I've got some Shabby Dabby Dooba labels. I've probably got some Artie Mays labels somewhere. But eventually you get to the point where you can't remember whose is whose, so I'm just mentioning all those people. Yep, put that there. And that can go over . There, enclosed condemned. And I think we'll have a little bit of red on this one as well. Now what I did with the, I did edge it with red, however what I do is I go over it with the brown, and it kind of goes like a either an orangey red, or sometimes it just looks like an old worn out label, which is cool. And I think we'll have that one on there. And there we are. So there's another one. I'll just, you know, they'll go with any theme, as long as it's kind of vintage looking. So we'll make another one. And again, just I think we'll do just some blank book page. Okay. Now I think this is probably a little bit fragile, and that's probably why because I would normally use these in a journal as a page, but the book itself probably would have been a little bit fragile, so I've either used the pages as glue pages or stuck them on like this. And again, I think we might go with scotched. No, we won't. We'll go with ground espresso. It's kind of a dark red. I'm just bringing it onto the edges. Okay, and I'll just bring that in like that. And tick that off. I'll put this one on. Oops. So once you get the hang of like you folding your book page and everything, I mean, if you want to measure it, you can. But we all know what an envelope kind of shape is, so you can do your own. Kind of just going over these. And then again we'll just go from and if you wanted you could even, you know, straighten that out. I'm not, I quite like the rough edge. And what I'm going to go on, I'm going to go and use some of these wooden stamps, just its script. Okay, now what else I've got is I've got some napkins. So what you can do is you can put a little bit of napkins over. Now I'm not just wetting this just so that I can and I'm just going straight down there. Okay, because I just want a little bit, I don't want a lot. I think we just want that much. And normally I would use Mod Podge and water, however I'm not. I'm going to use glue stick because I can. Just making sure that there's lots of glue stick on here. And what we need to do is we just need to kind of let the glue stick dry, and obviously the edge of the napkin was embossed, you know, like with a kind of, I don't know whether you can see it. So what I'm doing is I'm just rubbing and what I'm doing is I'm just going to go around the edges with glue. You don't have to do this, I'm just, whoop, be careful. Because it's when you're messing on with glue that it all kind of starts to come to bits. Okay, so we'll just leave that to dry, and I think we'll have the butterflies on this one. Right. These are just cut-offs that have been left from when I've been doing banners and things like that, so I'm just gonna shove that in there. the yellow one. We could have the yellow one. Just that there, love that there. So we've got the blue that goes with that, and we've got the yellow that goes with that. That way. Okay, I'm going to put some labelly ones. No. No. Kind of. And you can see there where it's starting to dry, it's starting to go kind of wrinkled, but you can use an emery board to flatten it out. But also if you know, get any little bits that's rubbing over, you can use it on there. That in there. Now what I'm looking for is I'm looking for And I think we might even do a little bit of I think that's it. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you that you could use some napkins on these as well. So that's definitely going to be a, you know, Halloweeny one. I mean, if I wanted, I could kind of put that there and kind of hide that. But I'm not. I'm just going to leave it like that. Could even put like a Halloween, not Halloween, a autumn stamp on it. So again, envelopes, and these will fit all your bits of ephemera and bits like that. As I said, I was going to stitch it. I might still stitch it, and you might see it, you know, when I put the pictures out on Facebook. Some of them might be stitched round, but I think I quite like that size. And if we look at what gel have we got? Okay, so we've got the dusty pinks. Now again, so you know, they will fit in pockets. You can actually put them on and have a pocket there and a pocket behind if you want. It's entirely up to you, but that's what they look like with it's entirely up to you how you use them. And that one goes with that because there's like red on it. Same with that one. That one. And I like the tartan papers, I must admit. I do like the tartan papers. But that's what it looks like in your... I'll go with any kind of journal. These are another one. These, I've still not finished these off. But here. So there. It looks alright, even with purples, you know, it looks quite good. There we are. So you can do these, I mean, you can keep them colourless, or don't put any coloured labels or anything on until you go to finish it off. Anyway, enough waffle. So we will see you in the next video.